Hello, everybody. This is Josh with WA Production here. Back at it August 2nd, Sunday in most parts of the world, and back at it right now with another live stream feedback session. We are excited to get going, and by we, I mean me, because it's just me over here. But excited to check out what you guys have in store this time. As always, the only place to submit your tracks for feedback is the Discord server, which the link is above my head somewhere. And that's the only place you can submit. I will not see your submissions if you post them on YouTube, Facebook, MySpace, wherever it is that you guys are most active these days, TikTok. So that's the only place to submit them. You go to the live stream feedback channel within the server, and you can submit links there. We prefer SoundCloud links. I'll probably check out Dropbox links if you send them. I will not click YouTube links or other videos because those mess up the buffering and they just don't play very well when you're live streaming. So we are here. I'm going to open the channel for submissions in a second. Just so you guys know, I typically look at the YouTube comments in the chat there, and we'll try and keep up to date with what people are saying in there. I usually don't look at the Facebook comments, so if you're on there, apologize. I can't be in 10 places at once. But we are going to begin with another trivia question. We skipped it last week, but this week I am back. What's great about these trivia questions is that if you're one of the first 10 people to get it right, then I guarantee that I will listen to your track. So otherwise, I'll be going at random. It's only the first 10. We always do more than 10, so even if you don't know the answer, that's okay. I very well may still listen to your track today. So the question for today is, how many plugins has WA Production released? So that's going to be your question. When you submit your track through Discord, please include in the comment with the track, not a separate comment, not a comment you add later, but with the comment, including your link, just type a number saying how many you think it is. All right, so I'm going to open up the Discord channel now. So it should be open for you guys to submit feedback, and I've already got a bunch coming in. Submit tracks for feedback. The first one in there is just a link to this video. So I'm not sure if you're asking me to give feedback on my own performance today, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job so far. Okay, so let's get going here without further ado. We'll start with a track from, is this Abzo? Did you change your name to 4? I think it was with an A before. So anyway, here we go.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know, you can't explain. But you feel it. You felt it your entire life. Like a splinter in your mind. Let me tell you why you're here. tell you why you're here.
Okay, nice way to start it off. That is really cool and has a lot of potential. Firstly, I really like the drops, the main drops. Overall, the track needs a lot of mixing work. It's pretty muddy. Um, so that would be the main focus, but also really your transitions need to be leveled up for this to be a great song because um, they just aren't that effective in preparing you for the drop. And then when the drop comes in, even though the drop is cool, and I really like it, um, firstly, the fact that it's a bit muddy in the drop takes away from the effectiveness of it. And also, just you're not really that prepared for it, so it's not like this huge moment. Um, I don't know. It sounded to me like you're using Endless Smile from Data Life, which is cool. They're cool guys. And it's a great plugin, but like it sounds to me like you bring it all the way filtered like too early and then you bring it back in, which is like one way to do it, but then you bring back in too much of the lows. And also, when you run something like that, again, I don't know if you're using Endless Smile, but it sounds like it. But whatever you're using to filter out and create that ramping up in tension, you kind of overdo it, I think, because you don't have to put it on the whole track. You can put it on individual buses and like leave the drums at least somewhat there because you kind of lose that momentum as you keep going. So work on the transitions, work on the mix, and then just work on the getting the rest of the track to be as good as the drop. It sounds a little unfocused at times, and maybe some of the elements aren't really the right ones for this track. Like that piano almost sounds like it's from like a different song or a different genre. So anyway, it's a really cool idea though. Keep working on it. All right, we've got Off Slidey Closer. And just a reminder for those who may be a little late, we are doing trivia this week, and if you get the trivia right in your post, uh, then I will guarantee that I listen. So far, we are not getting a lot of people answering the question, so I wanted to just reiterate. The question is, how many plugins has WA Production released? So if you get the answer right, or even probably close to right, I'll guarantee that I'm going to listen to your track today. So include that in your submission on Discord. Thank you. Okay, really cool. I like that a lot. Gives me. I try to refrain from comparing to other artists, but it gives me like Porter Robinson vibes, which I would take as a massive compliment. Um, so a few things I would say to just get this track to be excellent. Firstly, if you're gonna have three drops, like the third drop needs to be different. It gets by about this point, I'm kind of bored. The song's good, but like there needs to be some sort of difference in the third drop. I mean, maybe there is, but it sounded basically the same to me. I think it needs to be more. I mean, listen to a Porter Robinson track. Like if he has three drops, there's going to be something significantly different in at least one of them. Secondly, um, I think one thing a lot of dance music, electronic music producers, especially when they're first starting out, don't like pay enough attention to is traditional song structure. Like this piece right here is the same, it feels like, as, the other build-ups. This should be a bridge, in my opinion. Like it should be different. You should have a different progression here, obviously in the same key, but have some sort of change. And I apologize if you did that. I don't think you did. Um, and I think that would be a big thing and prevent me from getting bored at this point and feeling like I've heard this already. So those would be my main things. And then third point would be I just kind of was hoping for something a little wider in the drop. I just didn't think it was as full sounding. That bass synth is kind of narrow and thin. And I know this isn't a dubstep track or anything, but I just felt like if you had something that was happening a little bit wider, it would have been a more effective drop. But yeah, it's really, really cool. And I really like the vocal. It's awesome. And the production, I mean, really well done and well mixed. So nice job. Okay, now we got 385 by Chasm.
Take it easy. Look at you.
Get out of here.
That's right. Look at you.
Wow. Okay, that was heavy. So I think it's quite good. Firstly, some people might say that it's like too distorted. I think, if that's the sound you're going for, that's the sound you're going for. And I think it's what's good is that it's not so it doesn't hurt your ears. Like it's not harsh, and that can happen sometimes when you when you get all sorry, when you're doing some crazy distortion like that. So I think the mix on that end is actually pretty good. Um, I think the couple of things I would focus on the most is firstly having a cohesive idea throughout the song. Like right here, I mean, yeah, there's something to say for like silence, and I'm a big proponent of it. But here it sounds like almost a mistake. Like it's just like it cuts out. Um, and then there's not really any sort of intro or outro, or I would add something in there before you just dive right into the banging. Um, and then the bass, despite the growls and synths being very distorted, the bass is kind of weak. So I mean, I would add some distortion, saturation on that, at least on the upper frequencies to get that punching through more, or maybe layer another synth on top of that to get it to really like crunch. Um, but Yeah, so I mean, I think it's good. I do think that there are parts when you kind of juxtapose some silence ish with the loudness, and you can see you don't do that much here. You can see that it's just like banging most of the way. Um, there are some parts where you do that, but I would cut out even more. Like when you go like bow wow or like whatever, like cut out the other pieces so that it really has a more of a bounce to it. I hope that helps, but I mean overall it's really cool. Some really great sounds. Um, okay, let's keep going. We've got kindness. Sorry, drift, s rome, and kindness. Baile. Vamos. Nice work. That's really well produced. I mean, you guys clearly know what you're doing. I don't know, what how you guys collaborated. It sounds like there's three people on this, but if you all produced, you clearly know what you're doing. If one of you produced it, then that person knows what they're doing. But yeah, the drop is effective. I think the transitions are quite good. Um, Most of my comments will be kind of minor. So, firstly, in the drops, especially, it sounds like all your percussion is right down the middle. I think that you could improve the track by panning a bit. Imagine the listener is looking at a stage, and I know this isn't a traditional band playing this song, but you can still design your drums in a way that reflects the fact that they are left to right. They're in different places. And so giving, you don't need to pan hard left or hard right, but putting them kind of in their own space will give the track more width and sound more natural rather than it sounding so down the middle. Because your little like moombahton style snare and your clap and your snare and your kick and everything. Kick obviously should always be in the middle, but everything else can be slightly panned. I think that would help. Other than that, I think maybe your lead sounded a little too loud here and maybe could be made a little wider. But these are all very little things. And then over here, I thought it lost a little bit of energy in this break. Um, I think that your bass sound, whether that you want to call that an 808 or just a sub, I think it could do with like a little tail. And again, this is just personal artistic preference, but like I think it kind of is just like sustain and then no decay, no release. I mean, whereas I think I'd like a little bit of release, kind of to give it more of that like bouncy vibe, like a little bit more hip hoppy, trappy, and maybe even some like hi hats and stuff to give it that kind of trappy high. I know that's not the overall genre of the song, but you kind of go halftime here, and I think that would be pretty cool to keep the momentum going. Um, but otherwise, it's quite good. It's fun. Nice job. Um, okay, Lance Arts, Sweet Dreams. Nice. Okay. I get a gold star if I get this right, but I think you used output exhale on this track. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think you did. Um, which I love. I love outputs products. But so very cool. I like we don't get a lot of down tempo chill stuff in WA Productions feedback sessions, but I really dig it. Um, the uh, you comment here a lot of reverb. I mean, yeah, there is a little too much reverb or at least tails, going along. When you have multiple elements that are that ambient and have these long tails, you do need to do some things to reduce them, whether that's lowering the reverb, reducing the length of the release, some stuff like that. I mean, it's not overly muddy, overly, it could have been a lot worse, but I do think you need to tighten that up. Um, Partially with by doing that, and then you know partially I think you could add some more side chain. I mean, this isn't a progressive house track or anything, but adding some subtle side chaining to various elements will, number one, lessen that problem of the kind of melding reverbs and tails. And secondly, it will give it a little bit more motion. Again, I know this is a down tempo ambient track, but I was kind of hoping when the drums were in there to have it groove a little bit more. And I think having some side chaining would help that. But overall, it's very cool. Definitely work on the mix and getting it a little bit cleaner. But I think it's you did a great job. It's very nice. Okay, next we've got DJ Inspire, Show Me, featuring Merel van den Bogaard. Probably said that very wrong.
Scared to be with you, but I really miss you. I don't want to be alone. Scared of commitment, but I hate the distance. I just really want you close. Please talk to me, talk to me. Tell me what is on your mind. Are you real with me? Can I really open up to a fantasy? Boy, show me the signs. Everything will be fine. Just show me who you are. Show me who you want. Show me how you love and I'll give you my heart. Boy, just let me see how deep our love can be. Just show me that you want me. Show me, show me. Show me who you are. Show me who you want. Show me how you love and I'll give you my heart. Boy, just let me see how deep our love can be. Just show me that you want me. Show me, show me. Heart has been stolen, my heart has been broken. I can't just forget the pain. So you are really here to stay. Please talk to me, talk to me. Tell me what is on your mind. Are you real with me? Can I really open up to a fan? Boy, just let me see how deep our love can be. Show me who you are, can be. Show me who you are, show me who you want. Show me how you love and I will give you my heart. Boy, just let me see how deep our love can be. Just show me that you want it, show me, show me. Just show me that you want it, show me, show me.
All right, I really like that. It needs some work, but I really like the idea. My first thing I would say is that I think, just have the wrong reverb on the vocals. It sounds like the person is singing in a abandoned staircase. It's a short but thick and low end filled reverb. Yeah, it sounds like when you throw a ball down the stairs in a staircase. So I would look into that. I mean, I would personally have reverb with a longer tail, with a whether you want to high pass it or just have it be a reverb that has less low end. Maybe a little bit more pre-delay. It just sounds like they're in the wrong room. It doesn't fit. Listen to some other tracks that you like and in a similar genre, and listen to how the reverb sounds on the vocal. I think that's a huge thing for this, because the vocal's quite cool, but it sounds like it's in the wrong place, and it makes the whole song sound muddy. Additionally, there's definitely, like, if you mixed the drop better, it would be a lot better. I think that's a kind of a crappy way to put it, but the bass, I would want it to be a little bit more crunchy, a little bit more forward. It sounds kind of back and not that full. And then some of the elements they sound kind of disjointed, whereas they're really great, and I think they could work really well together if they were mixed a little bit better. Um, and then also just for getting the groove moving, I think you need like a snare on the two and the four, so like, or a clap or something. I mean, you kind of have that, but it's very low and not forward. I think the drop just kind of doesn't have energy because there's no like big elements going on, and so to keep the listener pumping and make it feel more exciting than the rest of the song, I think you need to have like a big clap or snare, not like, hard style big, but like, something that's going to keep the track going forward and have that momentum. So I would look into those things, but I think it's a really cool track, and could be really great if you make a few adjustments. um all right, we've got invert already.
What's good? I've been gone for a minute. I done came back reinvented. Turning down deals, guess I'm still independent. We've been wearing Timbs 20 years, niggas still in the trenches. Tried to make my fam understand it's an enterprise. I'm built the same as the sun, I'm re-energized. I done seen God through the guide of a sinner's eyes. I've been offline trying to fight off the genocide, man. We came a long way from the dollar fries, wiping off the tears from my mama eyes. I done told my fans I'm the wrong one I idolize. I'ma right the ship like Pierre from the Amistad. This level rise, niggas like FEMA don't meet us in time. So you know it's on. I ain't even seeing when I passed on the totem pole. Erica Badu singing on and on, on and on. Mingle with the rich, eating provolone, all alone. Bring it to the poor, mail ringing at your doorbell. Undisclosed daddy from a tour, I'm a rolling stone. Bronx living got me pumping ice through my corazon. Mama told me always hit the lights, they all know I'm home. Damn gang bang, throwing signs, they done draw a line in the pavement. Look close, you can see the lines interchanging. It's about time for the maker. Pre-saying, look up in the sky for a sign from the savior. Nothing, niggas start a ride in the major.
Wow, okay, that was cool. I really have one comment that would just make this song so much better. It's muddy, and the reason is that the piano it just has too much low end. For this style of song, I really was hoping to hear that driving bass that just keeps going throughout the song, and it just gets overpowered by the low end of the piano. So I would straight up throw a high pass on it, not necessarily a super sharp high pass, but cut out those lows so that you leave room for the bass. Whenever you're talking about low end in particular, it's kind of true for the rest of the frequency spectrum, but 100% true for the low end. You cannot have multiple things filling up that frequency spectrum. That doesn't mean you can't have some overlap, but like that bass should be the only thing playing sub or low frequency information, because if you're playing a bass that plays the entire song, basically, nothing else should be getting in the way of it. And so that piano is just there's way too much low end stuff. This song, like, it's such a simple fix, and it's so close to being excellent that like it's like almost frustrating because it's like a really good song. The other thing I would say, is that maybe on that piano too, there's like kind of a lot of either reverb or just like tail to the release that I would kind of cut back a little bit, which would also help with the muddiness. So those would be my tips for the song. Otherwise, it's really great. I don't know the original, to be honest, but the vocal's cool, and I think it's a really good track. So, okay, so real quick, I just want to mention no one got the trivia question right today, so I'm just going to tell you guys the answer. That's why I've been going fully in random mode because not a single, only a few people even guessed, but no one got it right, and I think because it's kind of tricky. So if you go, some of you I think went to our plugins page and just counted everything that's there. A lot of those are plugin expansions, not actual plugins. So no, there are not 55. There are 34. No one got even close. So better luck next time. Ra Phelps, Beyond. That was really good. That was excellent. I have only one comment, which, if you've been watching these at all, that's a pretty good sign. Unless it's just really not a great track, and I only leave one comment because I don't want to talk for days. But no, just kidding. Everything you guys submit is great in its own way, and you guys are all on your own production journeys. But this one is really, really good. My comment is that it needs to be louder. It's not mastered quite enough in terms of the limiting. I actually had to turn up my headphones there to hear it in comparison with the other tracks we've been listening to. Throw this into iTunes or whatever you listen to music on and compare it with other songs. It's going to be quieter. You can just tell visually. Its loudest point, look at these dynamics. You don't want to get rid of dynamics completely, but the loudest point of a dance music song like this should be like a sausage. It should be much flatter at the top and the bottom. And these, how much quieter this section is versus the peak of this section, there shouldn't be that much dynamic range. Do some Googling and figure out. There are some cool metering plugins that can tell you how much dynamic range your track has, and as well as the LUFS rating, or the different loudness ratings that you can have. So take a look at that and see what you're trying to go for. I'm not a proponent of loudness just for the sake of being loud, but your song does need to be as loud as other songs in the genre. Otherwise, people will skip it because it just sounds quiet. So that would be my one comment, but that's great because it's just a simple mastering comment. The song itself is really, really, really good. So nice job. Okay. Spades. Wake Up Dead remix, work in progress.
Oh no, no. Oh no. Sleepless nights trying to learn how to die in my sleep. 'Cause I don't wanna be the one to wake up without a heartbeat. Trust me, you're gonna love this stay in your sleep. Baby, just tell me you don't love me, and I'll admit defeat. It ain't that deep, 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 deep. No, you know I care for some of your real feelings. Oh no, it ain't that sweet, 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 no. 'Cause as long as you're the one who kills me, 'cause I don't wanna wake up dead, wake up dead, wake up dead. 'Cause I don't wanna wake up dead. Maybe I just needed you to listen. I don't wanna wake up dead. I don't wanna wake up. I don't wanna wake up dead. Oh my gosh, you're trying to kill me in my sleep. Rough sex making you my enemy. Whoa, can I be honest? Yeah, you bipolar just like me. Oh, baby, eat you up 'cause it's dinner time. Girl, you better play nice. Just wait for it, I'ma make it work this time. 'Cause I don't wanna wake up dead, wake up dead, wake up dead. Baby, I just need you to listen, 'cause I don't wanna wake up dead. If I ain't got you, then I'm already gone. Baby, no 23 shots of Patron. Gotta be coming back home, and I don't wanna wake up. I don't wanna wake up. I don't wanna wake up.
Okay, really, really nice job. The drops are really cool, especially that snare kind of tonal snare thing. Kind of sounds like a wood block. It's too loud, so tone that down. And honestly, I'm just not sure it's even right for the track. I think maybe I would consider changing that, but I mean, tone it down and see if it works. But I really like what you did. I think that obviously it sounds like a work in progress. Some of these sections are a little empty. Like over here, I was kind of hoping there'd be more than just piano and vocal or something like that, like some more stuff going on. So it needs detail work. I think the transitions need a little help to really build up, because the drops are really cool. So building up to that momentum. The mix needs work, but I mean, it's a work in progress, so I'm not going to focus too much on that. And then this last thing you do here, which I'd like, but I just think execution needs to be better, where like you kind of cut everything out, which I do that a lot of my tracks. I think it's a really cool technique. I think firstly lowering that snare thing would help, because it just is like that's the only thing I hear there almost. But make that a little bit more effective. Do some like cool filter up with it or something like that, just to like get the tension rising before you bring back all the other elements. But overall, it's really cool. Just needs, to be finished and fleshed out. So nice job. All right, next we got Kimbo's, I think is how you say it, but See the World. Okay, cool. Definitely some nice ideas there. So yeah, the first thing I would say is that that kick and bass kind of sounds distorted, like not intentionally. I can't really tell, but it kind of sounds like you're pushing it and it's clipping. So I would look into that. I mean, make sure that it's not clipping at any point in the signal chain, and make sure that that's sounding good. Um, Additionally, you especially in the beginning here, your bass and those like chords that have like an attack to them, um, they aren't really matching. When you have a sound that is so connected to another sound, like a bass that's always playing at the same time as a synth, you want them to have the same envelope. So I would adjust either of the two, probably the bass, so that it has the same exact attack as those synths. Then they sound like one sound rather than two different sounds that are playing kind of at different times. So definitely do that. I think that'll make a big difference. And then there's just a lot of reverb and muddiness and tails going on. You just need to clean up. I mean, this is virtue of just continuing to improve and making more music, because this, I mean, this sounds like songs that I made when I was starting out. I mean, you just don't recognize that like things need to be a bit cleaner. There's a lot of low end stuff going on, so throw high passes on stuff. I mean, not everything, you don't want it to be so sterile, but when in doubt, remove sounds that don't need to be there as far as in the frequency spectrum. So cut those out, and let your bass shine without having a bunch of other stuff on top of it. And then the delays and the reverbs and stuff, there's just too much of it, especially too much in the low end. So throw some high passes on your actual reverbs and delays too, so that there's not so much creating muddiness. And then there are some like long tails in some of your sounds, your synths and stuff like that. So you can cut those down a bit and just make it a little bit more of a tight track. And then lastly, I would say um, it feels like, you know, it maybe doesn't need to be this long. You can shorten some of the sections. Again, I love arpeggios. This is exactly the kind of thing I used to do. Have this long intro, which like is so dope, like in your own head, but to the listener can get kind of boring, a little too long of a wait. And so I know that's one of the hardest things to do, but cutting down some of these sections to make it a 3 minute song rather than a 4 minute song, I think would help. So yeah, those are my tips for today. But yeah, keep working at it, and it's some really cool ideas there. All right, we got Audio Trackers World. Hey, I'm just going to pause really quick. So this is an example of a great reverb. I haven't listened to the rest of the track, but what I was talking about earlier about sounding like you're in a staircase, this, although maybe not for all songs, different songs need different reverbs, but this vocal for this song, this reverb works great. It has very little low end. I think he probably high passed it. And so this is a great example of a reverb that works really well and sounds really good within the context of the song. And of course, now that I said that, I do think that maybe it could have a little less tail. It kind of drags on, and it's not muddy, but it could maybe be a little shorter because it kind of overlaps with the next phrase. So, but yeah, let's keep listening. All right, cool. So I think at this point you're clearly a good producer, but I think what needs work is the mixing. So I mean, I really love the track. I think it's got a lot of potential, but like if you gave this to a mixing engineer, the song would be so much better. For example, it's quite muddy. I use that word all the time, but in the drop, you've got your bass that is like, for this genre, that's almost like a lead, you know? And so firstly, I think the bass could be EQ'd a little bit better. And then secondly, your sounds that you put on top of it, like the different layers of little synths and leads and things, like whatever you want to call it, those have quite a bit of low end. I think you just need to high pass the heck out of all of those things. Like there shouldn't be anything else in the drop that has anything below like probably 200 hertz. You need to give your bass the room to be the lead that it really is in this kind of a track. And so those sounds it just creates quite a bit of muddiness. So the good news is it's relatively simple fixes. And then secondly, I mean, outside of the mix realm, I get that it's probably an extended mix of a track. Maybe you'll have a shorter version, but 6 minutes is quite long. And especially for a song like this, which by its nature is repetitive, listening to it for over 6 minutes gets quite repetitive. So I think maybe looking into cutting down some sections and stuff could be helpful. But anyway, it's a really good job. I mean, if you look today, most extended mixes are like 4.5 minutes, not 6, so just take a look at songs that you like and see what you could do here. But overall, really well produced. Just start focusing more on the mix. I think that'll help you a lot. Okay, we got Wild Vibes and Martin Miller featuring Arold As, Far From You Kilo remix.
You're the best I've ever seen. Oh,
Okay, nice job, Kilo. I really like this. This is a different kind of genre where 8 minutes is more acceptable. I think that you do a good job of keeping it interesting. Um, I think generally it's really good. I like that you're auto filtering kind of those arpeggios or whatever you want to call them. I really like all the sounds. It's really good. Um, my two comments would be really mix wise. It does sound a little muddy. I feel like I'm said that word 100 times today, but not terribly so. But in the drops, I do think that your bass could stand out more if there was a little less low end in some of the other elements and you tightened it up a bit. Um, and then secondly, I do think transitions could be more sweeping, like sorry, big, vast sweeps and things like that. That would really make it, these long builds to really flesh out and feel dramatic. And then, as the drop comes in, a big crashing sweep that tails on for a while, I think would be helpful. And that helps to have a long song like this keep feeling new and interesting. So those would be my main comments. I think you did a really good job, though. I really like that. I don't know the original song, but I think you did a great remix. Um, okay, guys, so we have reached the hour mark. I think we have to cut it down for today. Cut it off. Cut it, whatever the word is. End it. Call it a day. So thank you, guys. I hope you had a good time. I hope those of you who got your tracks listened to, had some constructive feedback that you can use for either this production or for future. If I didn't get to you today, I apologize, and I will do my best to get to you next time. Just stay tuned, and I'm looking forward to doing this again next week. Hope you guys have an excellent week and go out and make some amazing music. Thanks a lot. Bye.